First impressions are often based on what a person is wearing. If a person is wearing expensive clothing and is well groomed, then people would expect that person is well off and probably has a higher paying job. However, if a person is wearing dirty clothes that don't fit them, then people tend to think that person has a bad job that pays very little. In films, much like in real life, the audience's first glimpse of a character is a first impression. The clothes that the character is wearing can tell a lot about that character that the audience might not initially pick up on. In Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, the clothing choices tells the audience which family a character is from. While the Capulets wear leather and prefer metal boots, the Montagues wear Hawaiian shirts and outlandish hair. The only two people that don't follow these clothing choices are Romeo and Juliet. Baz Luhrmann had Romeo and Juliet wear different clothes from their family in order to show that they are going against their family. In the very opening scene of the movie, the audience is shown the Montagues joyriding in a yellow car, blaring music and yelling at cars that passed. All three of the men are wearing Hawaiian shirts that are unbuttoned, and all three have very different hairstyles. These clothes not only distinguish them as Montagues, but it also shows their carefree and reckless behavior. When the audience meets the Capulets, it is very easy to see the difference between the two families. The Capulets are wearing leather with metal-heeled boots. The clothing tells the audience that these boys are dangerous, dark, and that they shouldn't be trusted. This is later reinforced when Tybalt is wearing a devil's costume and his friends are dressed as skeletons. Romeo and Juliet are the two characters that break the mold set by their family. When the audience first meets Romeo, he is dressed in a sports jacket and appears as if he is distressed. The jacket is open, his hair is awry, and his pants are bunched up. The clothing choices here shows the audience that he is in misery and is heartbroken over the fact that Rosaline refuses to accept his love. When Juliet first appears on the screen, she appears relaxed and innocent. Her clothing helps give the audience this effect. Instead of being in leather and boots like the rest of her family, she's in jeans and a white t-shirt. These clothing choices help show how young she is and how different she is than the rest of her family. Throughout the rest of the movie, Romeo and Juliet's clothing are drastically different from the rest of the families. Juliet wears more white clothes to signify her innocence and purity, while Romeo still does wear his Hawaiian shirt. He only wears it around his family to show that he is still loyal to them. However, when he is with Juliet, he wears a simple button-up to show his maturity and to show his loyalty lies both with his family and now with Juliet. Clothing choices in films help audiences understand the character better by reflecting their traits within that character. This is seen in Romeo and Juliet when they wear their clothes that contrast to what the rest of their family wears. Baz Luhrmann did this in order to show the different characteristics of Romeo and Juliet from their families, and how they changed because of their love for one another. The clothing choices in Romeo and Juliet not only categorize characters into family, but also show how Romeo and Juliet have more in common with each other than with their own family.